Alright, so Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead, tells the story of a group of convicts being transferred from one prison to another when they are derailed by Three Finger and his nephew, who is now at least adolescent age, Three Toe. And they get picked off one by one. Look, right away, you gotta question the premise of this. Okay, first, before I start into the premise, which is one of the biggest problems with this film, the first problem, sort of, is the director. This is when the turning point of the franchise here. Declan O'Brien would direct this film and then the next two, 4 and 5, before being replaced for the 6th film. This movie, it's not the worst of the franchise, but it's up there. It's up there. Okay, So the first thing you want in a slasher film is you want to be able to connect with your protagonists. You want to be able to feel sorry for them. Right away, that's thrown out the damn window, for the most part, when you see our protagonists are a group of convicts that are being transferred from one place to another. You cannot feel sorry for these convicts whatsoever, and the way they are written just makes you keep facepalming yourself throughout the film. There are a few things added to this film that really go nowhere. There's a truck full of money. That does kind of go somewhere. They find the truck full of money just in the middle of the woods. And so they just, the head of this, Chavez, who, he decides, I'm going to take this money. And then that comes back at the end of the film, too, to the rest of the money that's in there. So the story is that the film starts with this group of teenagers in the woods. They're kayaking. Pretty decent kill at the beginning of this. You got this chick, and she take her top off, and she's with her boyfriend. She's sitting on top of him, and he's like, she's like, Alex says I'm a slut. You think I'm a slut? And he's like, yes, but that's what I love about you. She goes, I thought you loved my tits. He goes, I do. You have perfect tits. I can just touch them all day. And an arrow comes through the tit into his hand. And then you get to see it after he pulls his hand off. You get to see it through the tit. Through the left tit, just sticking out. And then she gets one through the head and her eyeball pops out. Now, Three Finger eats the eyeball. And I've heard complaints, cannibals cook their food. Can't cook an eyeball, dude. I'm pretty sure you can't cook an eyeball. Eyeballs is one thing, but no. But, yes, cannibals do cook their food. Even though they eat humans, they do cook their food. Just saying. But, yes. And then the rest of them, except for one, Alex, are slaughtered. They're murdered. Not very well. There's this kill that splits this guy in half, and it looks horrible. They use practical effects for the most part, but I hate what they do. They did this in the Thing prequel too. They'll use practical effects. They don't think it's good enough, so they'll paint over it digitally, and that makes it worse. Makes it much worse. And I think that this first kill is probably the best kill in the movie, to be honest. In concept, these other kills are kind of good, but digital paint jobs don't work. So we get our setup here. We have Chavez, who's supposed to be transferred the next week, but they're transferring earlier because they have a prisoner, Willie, whose real name is William, and he is a federal marshal. And he's actually told the warden, hey, he's got a plan for people to break him out. So they're going to transfer him a week early. And they bring in this prison guard, whose name I don't know off the top of my head, but he's sort of one of the main protagonists of this film. He's one of the ones you can root for. Him and Alex are really the only ones you can really root for in this, in a way. And this U.S. Marshal, and this federal marshal guy, but it doesn't really do much. This is another one of those things that doesn't go anywhere. They say he's undercover, and so you think, okay, so Chavez is going to find out that he's a snitch. But that never happens. The guy gets his face chopped off by one of the traps. And no, it goes nowhere. And then there's another prisoner, Brandon, who says he's innocent. Guess where that goes? Fucking nowhere. Because he's in the entire film, but they never come back to that possibility he might be innocent. They just don't. Once they get out in the woods, I find that the way they are knocked over, slightly improbable. First of all, this tiny ass little tow truck is not gonna be able to, like, it bumps into the bus full of convicts and it makes it tip just a little bit, move over, crash. No, this tiny ass little tow truck is not gonna be able to do that. Not gonna be able to even move this bus. This bus is gonna barrel over this tiny ass tow truck. But whatever, believability and all that shit. Then he has this barbed wire hanging out the back, which is a very bad idea because Three Finger has this barbed wire hanging out the back of his truck to catch the wheels of the bus, right? But what if that happens to catch one of his own wheels? Be kind of fucked now, wouldn't he? And so, yes, then we have this, they're in the woods, they're being hunted down one by one. They find Three Toe and they murder him, so his presence in this film did buckus, as far as I'm concerned. And, so now Three Fingers out for revenge, and he kills almost everyone except for Brandon, the prison guard, and Alex. They come across Alex, and I don't know how many times Chavez has to threaten someone with something. I don't know. And then they do this thing where, like I said, the undercover marshal, he gets the face cut off. So they cut off his legs only for then to find this weird little hillbilly town in the middle of the woods or something, where they use a crowbar to break the chains. So, I don't know. There's also another prison guard who is given a gun and then tries to kill Chavez only for himself to get killed because there's no bullets in the gun. I don't know. I don't know. That is a pretty good kill, though, I'll say, but first kill is still best for me. There's no paint stuff. It just doesn't work. So our final fight comes down to that they do bring back the ranger station from the first one, though. So continuity is there. Although I'm not sure how many years it's been. This came out in 2011, so you admit it, it's been 8, 9, 10, 11. It's only 4 years. 8, 9, 10, 11. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, it's been 4 years since the third one. There's no way that's a 4-year-old running around. There's no way that Three Toe is 4 years old here. There's no fucking way. So there has to be some kind of time jump in this. Continuity-wise, I guess this is supposed to come last, because the last 3 supposedly are prequels. Although we'll get to that when we get to 6, because it makes no sense. But 6 is a conundrum all its own. But yeah, and Three Finger dies. First of all, he gets shot with an arrow, but then he gets hooked to the face, put on a truck. It blows up, so he's definitively dead. And and then Alex and the prison guard are left alone. Prison guard tells Brandon, "You're free to go." So maybe he does believe he's innocent. Who knows? But then we get this little scene at the end, which... So the prison guard goes back to the truck of money and says, "Hey, fuck this. I'm gonna get this money and I'm gonna retire, you know?" Brandon shows up, kills him, and he's gonna take the money. But no. There's another cannibal mutant person thing with a bloody weapon. It means it just killed someone out there. Who is it? Because we're all, after the last film, we know there's only 2 left. They also make the comment here, like they do in the previous film, there's no animals in the woods. How that makes any sense, I don't know, but I don't know. Three Finger is definitively dead here. And clearly Declan O'Brien was setting up for something. Like a reveal that there was more cannibals here, which could happen. But he went the route of making the next 3 films, or the next 2 films, I should say, prequels, which we'll get into. As far as this movie goes, it's not terrible, but like I said, I find it hard to root for a bunch of convicts who are written terribly and have no redeeming qualities, and plot lines are introduced and then dropped. The plot line of the guy being a federal marshal goes nowhere. He's not outed at all. He just dies. The money does come back in the end, but it's not really important. The guy being innocent, not really in the long run important at all. Whether or not he's innocent or not, it doesn't come into it. It just earns the prison guard's trust. And what I didn't mention, there's a sheriff and his deputy that also go nowhere because they get killed. So their investigation, the sheriff knows something about the cannibals, but that doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not saying Declan O'Brien's a bad director. I think this was fine. That beginning scene of this, I was like, okay. But the first time I tried to watch this. Actually, it's the first time I actually watched it all the way through. The first time I tried to watch this, I set up first scene. I was like, okay, not bad. This is a pretty decent start. And then we get to the plot of this film about the convicts, and I'm like, no. You lost me. You completely lost me. Why are we following convicts? It makes no sense to me. You can't root for them because they're fucking convicts. They deserve to fucking die. So I don't understand who wrote this script and thought it would be a good idea for these cannibals to go after convicts. It's like someone saw the later entries of like Friday the 13th or Halloween and said, hey, people root for these killers to kill people, so let's give them something to root for. But this is the fucking 3rd entry of a film series that doesn't have that strong of a following as Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween to root for those characters. Three Finger is the only character we've followed throughout these films, and you keep changing the actor who plays him, so his appearance also changes, so it's hard to figure out who he is, except for this one, because he's basically the only one, besides Three Toe. Alex is the only one I actually really rooted for. Prison guard, somewhat, but Alex, she's the real innocent in all this. Where she was just out with her friends, with their fake American accents, and they all got murdered, except for her, and now she's stuck with these convicts, who, in all seriousness, would have killed the prison guard, and then raped and killed her. That's how it would happen. I'm just saying, that's how it would happen, but we gotta have a little more levity for this film, so why not? Alright, so with this, I'm officially halfway through. I'm gonna give this a 7. I think it was fine. It's far from the worst, I'm sure. And we're gonna keep on trucking through this franchise until we get to the end. Oh, please let it end. Please let it end. So, what are your thoughts on Wrong Turn 3, Left 4 Dead? In the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. We'll see you in the next one.